and I really do not have any answers for them. There are clear ethical issues with AI. In one sense, this is the largest art theft ever to happen in history, and no one is responsible. No one is responsible for it. This is an industry which for the time being is self-regulating, and we all clearly know how industry self-regulates. It never works. Does the artist have anything to say in it? Are we responsible for decades of putting our art all over the net? Is it our fault? Possibly, but none of us were prepared for something as revolutionary as AI. All of these are questions which are going to remain up in the air until some form of limitation and guidelines can actually be applied to AI. I would personally suggest removing from prompts the name of any living artist to start, but it is already too late. The art's out there, it's been collected, it's being used. There is, even if it's legislated now, there's literally no way to stop it. Should we have seen it coming? Should we have realized that it was going to happen? We were all so surprised, but in the end, the unexpected guest, we'd been inviting him in for decades now. For decades. Since the invention of digital tools, we have been delegating our skills to programs. Take a simple program like Photoshop. How many operations belong to you, to the gesture from your hand and eye? How many belong to the machine? We've been delegating our skills happily because it allows us to go faster, it allows us to change our minds, it gives us all sorts of wonderful opportunities, but it doesn't entirely mean that we are in full control. And the next step, well, everything else in Photoshop works perfectly, only the artist can be improved, and that's what AI is going to try and do. So, this is not to say that I'm in any way criticizing AI. On the whole, it will bring tremendous benefits in science, in medicine, in many, many other aspects of our lives. What I do question is when it's making something like art, or like literature, or like music, which was the exclusive domain of human beings before that. Before, being an artist was easy. I'm somebody who makes art. Now a machine can do it, and possibly better than me. So what does that mean for me as an individual? What does that mean for the definition of art? And this is something which we will have to re-examine in the future. There is an inevitable side to AI. It's going to happen anyway. And that's fine. Other technical revolutions have happened, always accompanied by wonderful promises of a better future, less work, shorter hours, more leisure time. All of those are fine. But the ultimate goal of AI is to replace human beings wherever possible. How do we define art? And for the time being, how I define art is something that AI hasn't yet learned to do. Art is a transformative process. Art changes your life. If you decide to make art as a career, as a hobby, it transforms your way of looking at the world. It changes your perspective. It changes the way you see things. It changes the way you perceive the world. It is something that transforms you as you do it. Because it's hard work, but it's also exciting, elating, in many ways marvelous. It's a privilege, it's a burden, it's a privilege. These are all human things. These are all important. And the fact that this exercise creates, of the people who do it, people who are different from before, that is important. And the privilege of art, the grand privilege that art offers, is to be able to share that with other people. To be able to take what it is that excited you, touched you, moved you, and in some way share that with an audience, hoping that you can touch them, in some way move them, in some way interest them. And that is something that is profoundly human and is a privilege given to people who make art. There are, we live in a world where we think we have access to everything. Well, we do, in a sense. It is, a few search terms on your keyboard, and you have an image of whatever you wish in front of you. That's wonderful. On the other hand, there is something that we should not ever neglect or try to replace. It is the encounter, the meeting, the face-to-face of two unique things. Any one of us here, or anyone in the world, with art, with a piece of art, with an original sculpture, an original painting. That moment where you've taken the time to buy your museum ticket, to wait in line, to go and see a piece of art that interests you, that encounter between two unique things is absolutely primordial. It's one of the things that makes us human. What makes us human are the things that we exchange, the things that we tell each other, the things that we are enthusiastic about, that enthusiastic which we wish to communicate to other people. And that's something AI is not going to be able to do, certainly not right away. It's also possible that AI will refocus on the materiality of art. As far as we know, Boston Dynamics is not developing a robot that can paint. Although, who knows? So perhaps the pendulum which swung away from traditional art into digital art will now swing back somewhere in between the two. And there will be a revalorization of actual physical art, which once again creates unique objects offered to the public. I realize that I'm running out of, I was hoping this would take me about 20 minutes, and we have about 20 minutes to talk, but I realize I'm going to push this until they throw me off the stage, so I would love to take some questions, if I may.